Let's talk business. My name is Segun Manuel, and our guest today on the program is a business consultant, a speaker, a best-selling author of over 40 books, the CEO of a large conglomerate with millions of dollars. He runs a TV program that is in view in almost 87 countries of the world. He also advises many nations of the world and is an ambassador from the nation of the Bahamas. He also runs the largest church in the Bahamas. He's one of the wisest men alive today, and he is a living legend. Today we have Dr. Myles Munroe in the house. Welcome, sir, to the program.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, we know you are the chairman of the International Third World Leaders Association, and as a leader in the Third World, what do you think the Third World nations should be doing in the face of this global economic recession?
I believe that one of the advantages of the third world countries is that they are emerging, they are dynamic. One of the problems with the industrial states is that even though they have been around a long time, their institutions have already been set. They are slow to respond to the dynamism of the global crisis. Much of their formulas that they have invented to deal with certain economic conditions, those formulas have been cancelled or destroyed by the economic crisis. Being nations that are new and fresh and emerging, they are more flexible. So the third world countries also have the advantage of being more elastic in their ability to invent new ideas, invent new responses to the conditions of the global crisis. And secondly, much of the banking systems in the industrial countries have caused the problem. In most third world developing countries, their banking systems were not tied to the banking systems in the industrial states. So the effects of the banking collapse has not affected the third world countries. And so in many of these small states, emerging countries, developing countries, I believe that they are going to respond more effectively to the global crisis, and it's going to have less effect on them. Finally, whenever there are conditions that have changed, those who are able to be more proactive and more inventive in new ideas are the ones who are going to make it. I believe that we're going to see the success of third world countries faster than expected now, because the global crisis is going to create demand for the resources of the third world countries. And so what we need to focus on, I believe, is improving our skills and our workforce to create more technological education for our third world people, so that they can respond to progressive, inventive ideas. And I think this is going to be to our advantage.
Wow, that's a good one, sir. Most developed nations are looking at tying business opportunities with the developing nations, as seen in world leaders visiting most of the African countries. How do you think, sir, that these developing nations such as Nigeria and most of the African nations should position themselves to make gain from these ties?
You know, one of the concerns I have is that most of the third world developing countries are byproducts of colonialism. Colonialism, of course, in most cases have been more oppressive than progressive. It has actually spawned concepts like slavery, oppression. It has created more conflicts with racism and inferior superiority type complexes. And so many of these countries are mentally, historically oppressed. And so the people have lost a sense of self-worth, sense of self-esteem, sense of strong self-concept, and so their perception of themselves, I believe, has been damaged. That, I think, affects the way we respond to the industrial world. So when we have the industrial large countries coming to our new countries, they're coming for our natural resources. As you know, the world runs on basic things like oil and on copper and on zinc. It runs on uranium, bauxite, all the things that are natural resources that we never tapped into. The industrial states want them now. So I think our leaders need to change their mentality, first of all, to understand that they're no longer slaves. They should not be intimidated by the oppressor, and that when they come to do business with us, we must be on a level playing field. We must not succumb to the spirit of intimidation and fear of them. Secondly, we must believe in our own ability to be a producer and not just a consumer. I believe that many third world countries have been victimized by industrial states because the industrial state always see these developing third world countries as markets for their goods, or they see them as machinery for their industrial process to bring people power in, cheap labor, all those things. Those things have to change. I believe what's happening in the world right now is good for the third world countries. It means it's time to grow up, it's time to man up, and it's time to believe that you are equal to any other nation. Right. And that when you start negotiating investment deals, you need to negotiate from a position of strength. If I have oil and you got the machine that needs the oil, we got to talk as equal partners.
That's right.
And so it's no longer where you come into my country, you offer me a few cents, and then take most of my resources out of my country. Those days are finished. If you want my resources and you need my resources and I need your economic revenue, then we can talk as business people.
That's right.
So I believe our leaders need to change perhaps their perception of themselves, that we are equal partners now. We are not master and slave. We are not imperialists and subjects. We are now equal partners in the world. We've got resources. You got the machinery. We need now to say, let's talk as partners. And I think this is important for the third world countries to develop that idea.
Thank you very much, sir. Money. But I heard you say that money is not the pursuit in life. What do you think, or what do you suggest should be what young people in the developing nations should pursue?
I think when you've been historically oppressed for over 200-300 years, and suddenly you have an opportunity to actually have access to resources, there's this spirit of, I think, gratification. There's a spirit of entitlement. And there's a spirit of greed, because if you've been lacking something for a long time and suddenly you have a chance to get it, you almost want to get all of it. Exactly. And I think this spirit of materialism, the spirit of pursuing goods, the spirit of pursuing money and wealth and all the power, this is a sign of a byproduct of a slave mentality. Sure. I hope that our young people would somehow change in the process to appreciate that success is not something you pursue. Success is a matter of becoming a person of value. Sure. We should not be pursuing money. We should pursue purpose. We should pursue vision for ourselves and for our countries, for our communities. We should be not pursuing things. We need to pursue ideas. That's right. I always say that there are three types of people in the world. There's poor people, there's rich people, and there's wealthy people. Poor people talk about money all the time. Rich people talk about things. Wealthy people, they talk about ideas. Rich people, poor people, and wealthy people think differently. For example, poor people, they pursue money. Rich people pursue things. Wealthy people pursue ideas. And so constantly there's a different way of thinking. I hope that the third world countries and the young people of our nations will become ideas people. Ideas control the world, not money. And ideas attract money. So I think if we minimize this desire to get money and elevate the creativity of new ideas, we'll find that financial results will naturally flow to it. Bill Gates didn't pursue money; he pursued an idea. Stephen Jobs, the late Stephen Jobs, who invented the Apple computer and the iPhone, he never went after money. He developed an idea. And I think if you think of all the wealthy people in the world, it was ideas that made them wealthy, not money. That's right. So I think we need to switch it, reverse it. Don't pursue money and then try to get an idea. Get an idea and money to pursue the idea, and you become a byproduct as far as wealth. And so delayed gratification is an asset to our new generation. We have to delay gratification rather. We should not try to get everything now. I went to college. I spent 8 years in universities. I have 3 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, 5 doctorate degrees bestowed upon me by many different universities. And many of my friends that went to school with me in high school, they went straight to jobs. I went to college. You know, they started making money early. I delayed my money making for 5 years. And now, what they make in a year, I probably make in an hour. So, you know, we need to be more focused on developing ourselves rather than trying to grab money now. Focus on self-improvement, self-expansion, rather than trying to get your pocket to expand. Because the more valuable you make yourself, the more value you attract. You're not paid for how hard you work. You're paid for what you are worth to the organization.
That's right.
And the more intellectual development you have, the more spiritual development you have, the more psychological development you have, emotional stability, you become more valuable to the world. And let me say this finally. If you become valuable to the world will pay you to be yourself.
That's right.
So it's important for you to become a person of value, not to seek value in things.
That's right.
I get paid for what I know, not for what I do. And I think this is what we need to perceive as being most valuable. Do you know what they actually call intellect? They call it capital. You know, intellectual capital is really a commodity. And so I want to encourage our young people to focus on discovering the purpose for your life, why God created you. And then discover your gifts, and then refine them, develop them, practice them, and then even begin to serve them freely to your community. Develop yourself. And in a short time, you'll discover that people will pursue you. Because when you develop your fruit, and you maximize your fruit of your gift in life, just like a tree, trees never bring their fruit to you.
That's right.
They just simply manifest them. You are attracted to the tree. So when you develop your gifts and refine your gifts, you don't need to look for followers. They'll find you.
That's right.
After all, leadership is not about finding followers. It's about followers being attracted to what you have. And this is true commodity.
How do you think, in your opinion, sir, can we solve this leadership problem in Africa?
You know, the leadership problems in all developing countries, not just Africa, but all of them, are really historical problems. And all of them result from the same experience, and that is colonialism. Oppressive colonialism in the last 300 years was not designed to produce leaders. It was designed to maintain followers. In other words, the colonialists had no interest in making the oppressed leaders. They wanted to make them slaves. And so there was no need for them to train them, to educate them, to prepare them for power, to manage resources. And so when those colonial powers finally took the chains off and released these nations, they ended up with nations that had a lot of resources but no leadership training. And so much of the leaders that emerged from post-colonial situations were actually leaders who were freedom fighters. They had to have wars for their freedom over from the imperialist powers. So many of these become military people, or they become jungle fighters. Suddenly you have a guy who fought the military, he's now a prime minister or a president. I mean, this is amazing transition here. And so how do you come out of the jungle and become a prime minister? That's what most of history is for these third world countries. I had to fight for my freedom, and now I'm the prime minister. And I have no training to run a country, to manage resources, to develop programs, to establish institutions. And here I am in charge of a country. And so you could say that the leadership problem in developing countries is proof that colonialism failed in developing leaders. And I put this at the doorstep of the colonial powers who are still around today. Many of those powers actually blame continents like Africa. I mean, England and America and Great Britain and France, they look at Africa and they go, you guys can't lead. Look what you've done. You're corrupt. And my response is no. The question is, did you produce us as leaders? Don't blame us for our lack of experience and development, our lack of capability and skills. You didn't train us. So I think that this period we're living in right now, where most of the leaders who fought for freedom are still alive, many of them are dying, but we got a few of them left. This is a whole era of what I call transition. It's experimentation. And what we need now is to prepare young men and young women who are trained as leaders, no longer just products of circumstances, but who have been intentionally trained to become leaders, to develop the skills and the character and the fortitude and the understanding of passion and vision and sensitivity and compassion for the poor, and also responsible for accountability. These kind of leadership needs to be emerging so that we can have nations that are quality nations, compete with any other industrial state, and maybe even go beyond them. I have great hope for Africa, and I would say, the average leader in third world countries, his age is 78 years old. That's the average age of a third world leader, which I think is really, over the top. I mean, when you hit 50, 60 years old, you should be mentoring someone to take your place. But it's a sign that many of them feel that their life's worth is attached to their title and their position. So they're afraid to actually give up power because they would actually be giving up their lives. And we need to say to them, look, it's okay, you've done well, you fought for us, you paid the price to set our countries free, you gave us a sense of destiny, we honor you, you can now take a rest and let the younger people who you've helped to free to begin to learn how to lead. And this is why in our organization we focus 100% on leadership training, because we have great leaders in third world countries who have not been trained greatly. And so if you provide good training for someone, they become very skillful and they become excellent. And I believe this is the future of the third world countries. It's not the people, it's the leaders. And if we intentionally develop quality leaders in politics, in business, in religion, in social development, and civic development, we're going to see the third world nations in Africa, Central America, the Caribbean, and the Far East. These countries are going to emerge as the greatest future nations in the world. And Nigeria is no different. I believe the best is yet to come for nations like Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
If you've been watching the program, I've been talking with a living legend, Dr. Myles Munroe, arguably one of the wisest men alive today. And I'm sure you've benefited from the things you've heard. Nothing works except you work it. So whatever you heard today, you have to do something about it, and that's when it will work for you. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Segun Manuel, and we have been talking business.